For the month of May, we're going to experience two very different energies at the same time. Earlier in the month, we're going to experience a major retrograde, which is Pluto retrograde. Pluto, the planet of intensity, obsession, the underworld, is going to move backwards, meaning that there's going to be some internalization, re-evaluation, reconsidering regarding intensity, obsession, basically the underworld of our psychology. This will show you what we need to reconsider in terms of Plutonic energy. You have to look at where Pluto sits in your natal chart, transiting Pluto. And then the other energy that we're going to experience strongly in the month of May is Uranus. Uranus activation. Uranus enters Gemini late April, but the activation is going to happen in May, especially later in the month when Uranus going to conjunct the Sun. This is major. There's also another unique thing about May is that we're going to experience 3 lunar cycles. Earlier in the month, full moon in Scorpio, middle of the month, new moon in Taurus, and later in the month, full moon in Sagittarius. So these major, very different energies is what we're going to juggle with for the month of May. And this is my simple general take on the effects of these events for all 12 rising signs for the month of May. For the first rising sign, we will go to Aries rising, the most accurate, followed by Aries sun and Aries moon. For my dear Aries rising friends, the month of May, the activation or the biggest energies is going to be in Taurus, Gemini, of course later in Cancer, and also in your Aquarius house. Yes, Saturn and Neptune is in your first house, Aries. This is going to be permanent. But after that, we're going to experience, of course, many energies in Gemini. The Sun will move there. Uranus is already there. And then in Taurus, this is important for you, Aries rising, for Taurus. Why? Because for Aries rising, your chart ruler, which is Mars, is going to move to Taurus. And then, of course, Venus will move into Cancer. And then there's going to be 3 lunation, full moon in Scorpio, full moon in Sagittarius, and new moon in Taurus, as well as Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. So for Aries rising, your second Taurus house, your third Gemini house, your fourth Cancer house with Jupiter and Venus later will be here, as well as your 11th house, Aquarius, where Pluto is going to retrograde, and of course the lunations. Scorpio, which is your 8th house, Sagittarius, your 9th house, as well as new moon in Taurus in your 2nd house. So a lot of houses are going to be activated, not just for you, Aries, but for all the signs, because there's a lot of different energies for the month of May. But for you, importantly, is your chart ruler, Mars, will be in Taurus, and there's going to be a new moon in Taurus. So there's an additional emphasis for Aries rising regarding money, 2nd house, Taurian thing. And the ruler of Taurus, which is Venus, is going to move into Cancer, your 4th house for Aries rising. Jupiter is there. So it will have something to do with family, your property, your emotional foundation, the nurturing side of you. So this is the energies that you will deal with in the month of May. For the next rising sign, we will go to Taurus rising, the most accurate, followed by Taurus sun and Taurus moon. For my dear Taurus rising friends, there's a lot of energies that's going to play in the month of May. We've got Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, with Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, as well as the lunar cycles, full moon in Scorpio, full moon in Sagittarius, and new moon in Taurus. But for you, Taurus, the most important thing is that that new moon in Taurus, which is your first house, Mars entering Taurus in the first house, as well as your chart ruler, which is Venus, is going to move into Cancer and will eventually join Jupiter in Cancer. So for Taurus rising, Cancer is your third house. So the focus for you would be the first and the third. The first, because Mars is going to enter your first house, giving you more energy, right? More vitality, more drive. And that there's going to be a new moon in Taurus in the middle of the month, meaning that there's going to be an impetus, a new journey in regards to your first house, appearance, personality, aura, energy. And then your chart ruler, which is Venus, is going to move into later in the month to Cancer, which means that there's going to be an emphasis for you in the realm of communication. Because for Taurus, first house, Gemini, second house, and then Cancer, third house, communication, relationship with siblings, your immediate surroundings, and skills, knowledge, the way you process information, that's the third house. So it's the first and the third that's going to be the focus for you, Taurus rising. It doesn't mean that other is not important, meaning that Sun will conjunct Uranus later in the month in Gemini, your second house, and then Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. For Taurus rising, Aquarius is your 10th house, right? But for you, because there's going to be Mars and new moon in the first house and Venus entering Cancer in your third house, those two houses you should watch for. For the next rising sign, we will go to Gemini rising, the most accurate, followed by Gemini sun and Gemini moon. For my dear Gemini rising friends, for the month of May, because there's a lot of different energies that's going to play for the month of May, the focus will be on your first house, as well as where Mercury will be in. Mercury will move into Taurus and then also will move into Gemini for the month of May, meaning that your 12th house and your first house is going to be activated. Because for the month of May, we're going to experience Mars entering Taurus, Venus entering Cancer, and then Uranus will already move into Gemini, your first house, as well as Sun conjunct Gemini and Sun moving into Gemini, your first house, as well as the lunation cycles, full moon in Scorpio, full moon in Sagittarius, your 7th house, new moon in Taurus, which is your 12th house. Mars also in Taurus will move into Taurus, your 12th house, as well as for you, Mercury, Venus will move into Cancer, which is for Mercury, which is your 2nd house. So there's a lot of energies, there's a lot of different energies, and then there's a lot of different qualities to these energies for the entire month of May. So it can be overwhelming, it can be challenging to juggle between these, but for you, Gemini, the focus should be on your chart ruler, which is Mercury. Mercury is going to move from Taurus into Gemini, so from 12th house to your first house, and the focus for you should also be your first house, because Sun will move here. Conjunction between Sun and Uranus will happening in your first house, and Uranus is already here. It doesn't mean that other chart is not important. I mean, Pluto retrograde in Aquarius is still important, but pay attention to the movement of your chart ruler, which is Mercury, and also your first house. So for this month of May, I'm advising you to pay attention to your 12th and your first house, because Mercury will move to Taurus and then to Gemini, your 12th house. New moon is going to happen here, as well as Mars will enter in your 12th house, Taurus. And then Uranus, Sun, and also Mercury, your chart ruler, will move into your first house. So there's a new energy, a new vitality brought upon by this movement. So 12th house and the first house, watch for the movement and for the energy of those two houses. So it's about your mental health and then your physical well-being, first house. For the next rising sign, we will go to Cancer rising, the most accurate, followed by Cancer sun and Cancer moon. For my dear Cancer rising friends, the month of May can be, for all of us, the month of May is, we need to juggle between different energies. But because you are ruled by the moon, lunar cycles, as well as energies that's already or going to be in Cancer should be your focus. Later in the month, Venus will move into Cancer, joining Jupiter in your first house. So this is both benefics in your first house. This is major positivity. As well as the lunar cycles, full moon in Scorpio, full moon in Sagittarius, as well as new moon in Taurus. For Cancer rising, new moon in Taurus will happen in your 11th house. So there's going to be a new impetus, a new journey, a new adventure in terms of your friendship, networking, social media. And then a full moon in Scorpio earlier in the month. New moon in Taurus is middle of the month. Full moon in Scorpio earlier in the month. Scorpio for Cancer rising is your 5th house. So there's going to be culmination in the realm of your children, creativity, and self-expression. And then on the later part of the month, we're going to also experience another full moon, which is full moon in Sagittarius. For Cancer rising, Sagittarius is your 6th house. So there's going to be also a culmination in the realm of your 6th house. Health, daily details, daily chores, basically things that you do daily to improve your lives, including the details of your work and also your health and pets. Because for Cancer rising, Sagittarius is your 6th house. 1st house Cancer, 7th house is Capricorn, 6th house is Sagittarius. Other than that, you will also experience Pluto retrograde, and then there's going to be Sun and Uranus conjunction in Gemini, right? For you, Gemini is in your 12th house, so also pay attention to your mental health. Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. For Cancer rising, Pluto in Aquarius will be in your 8th house. So there's major transformation, but it needs to be done through re-evaluation, reconsidering, because it's retrograde. In the realm of the 8th house. What is the 8th house? Investments, transformations. But the most important thing for Cancer rising is your 1st house. Venus will enter your 1st house, as well as the lunar cycles. Full moon in Scorpio, full moon in Sagittarius, and new moon in Taurus. For the next rising sign, we will go to Leo rising, the most accurate, followed by Leo sun and Leo moon. For my dear Leo rising friends, the month of May is going to be interesting because there's a lot of competing energies for the month of May. So for Leo rising, the most important thing is to watch for the movement of the sun, which is, the sun is your ruler. You also need to watch for planets, major planets that is intersecting or making an aspect to the sun and also to you. For example, Pluto is going to be retrograde in Aquarius, so it's your 7th house. But the sun will move from Taurus to Gemini in the month of May. So for Leo rising, Gemini is your 11th house, Taurus is your 10th house. So the focus shift from career to friendship and gains also from your career. So from the work to also what you gain from the work, 10 to the 11th, from Taurus to Gemini. That's you. Other than that, we're going to also experience new moon in Taurus. This is a good time for Leo rising to find a new job, new moon in Taurus, and also Sun, your chart ruler, will conjoin Uranus in your 11th house. This is a further boost for friendship, as well as Venus entering Cancer. For Leo rising, this is basically your 12th house. Your 12th house is going to be activated, and also there's going to be lunation cycles, which is full moon in Scorpio, full moon in Sagittarius, as well as new moon in Taurus. For the next rising sign, we will go to Virgo rising, the most accurate, followed by Virgo sun and Virgo moon. For my dear Virgo rising friends, for the month of May, we got many competing energies. So the task is to juggle and also to harmonize between these energies. But for Virgo rising, the most important thing is to watch for Mercury. because your chart ruler is Mercury. So where Mercury is going, that's your destination. So for Virgo rising, Mercury will move from Taurus to Gemini. For Virgo rising, Taurus is your 9th house and Gemini is your 10th house. So the focus for you on month of May is from the 9th house to the 10th. So from traveling, from cerebral things, from opening up your minds, into practicing that mindset into your career, 10th house. We also have to remember Uranus is already moved into Gemini, right? As well as Sun will move there eventually later in the month. So there's going to be a lot of energies in Gemini in your 10th house. So focus should be in the career part of your chart. Other than that, we're going to experience many planets such as Uranus already in Gemini, Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, as well as the lunar cycles, full moon in Sagittarius, which is your 7th house. Full moon in Sagittarius, which is your 4th house, full moon in Scorpio, which is your 3rd house, and then new moon in Taurus, which is your 9th house, as well as Venus entering Cancer, which is your 11th house. So all of these energies are competing for your attention, Virgo. But pay attention to where Mercury is going to be, which is Taurus, your 9th house, as well as in Gemini in your 10th house. I also almost forgot, Mars also going to move into Taurus together with the new moon happening there in the 9th house. So maybe you could be traveling again. Not just doing work, 10th house, but also traveling. Maybe remote work, for example. But just pay attention to where Mercury is going, because that's you. For the next rising sign, we will go to Libra rising, the most accurate, followed by Libra sun and Libra moon. For my dear Libra rising friends, for the month of May, we've got many energies competing, and then the key for the month of May is harmonizing those things. For Libra rising, the focus should be on Venus. Why? Because your chart ruler is Venus. Venus is going to enter Cancer later in the month, so the focus should be on your 10th house. Doesn't mean that you don't have to pay attention to other planets, no, but pay attention to Venus, because where Venus is going, that is your destination. Venus is going to move later in the month to Cancer in your 10th house, so the focus should be on your career. Other than that, we're going to experience Mars and also new moon in Taurus. For Libra rising, Taurus is your 8th house, so major themes regarding transformation and investments. And then other than that, we're going to see the Sun together with Uranus already there, and also Mercury will move from Taurus to Gemini. For you, Gemini is your 9th house. There's also activation on the traveling house, 9th house, yeah, foreign travel, as also as the 9th house is also opening your mind, the house where you open your mind to the world, as well as Pluto retrograde in the 5th house in Aquarius, as well as the typical usual lunation cycles. New moon in Taurus, full moon in Scorpio, your 2nd house, Taurus your 8th house. So your money house, 8th house and 2nd house is activated for the month of May. Full moon in the 2nd house, Scorpio for Libra rising, and new moon in Taurus, 8th house, as well as a full moon in Sagittarius later in the month, which is your 3rd house, communications. So there's a lot of energies competing for the month of May for Libra rising, but focus should be on where Venus is going. Venus is going to your 10th house in Cancer, so pay attention to your career. For the next rising sign, we will go to Scorpio rising, the most accurate, followed by Scorpio sun and Scorpio moon. For my dear Scorpio rising friends, the month of May is going to be a bit chaotic because there's a lot of energies competing for your attention. The key is to balance everything out, but also for Scorpio rising, you should look at your two rulers, which is Mars and Pluto, because this is major. Pluto is going to be retrograding in the sign of Aquarius. For Scorpio rising, Aquarius is your 4th house. So there's going to be a major re-evaluation or something from the past coming back in the realm of your 4th house. Family, properties, mother, anything. the fourth house. There's going to be a major transformation, but it will come through reconsidering, re-evaluation, or something from the past. So fourth house is one of your ruler, going to be retrograde for Scorpio rising because Pluto is in Aquarius. The other one would be Mars. For Scorpio rising, Mars will enter Taurus, which is your seventh house, which is opposing you. Meaning that your focus now should be on other people, relationship. That is your focus. Where Mars is going, that's where you're going. Seventh house is other people, relationship. Your focus should be on that. Of course, there are other things such as lunation cycle, full moon in Scorpio, which is your first house, full moon in Sagittarius, which is your second house, and then new moon in Taurus, which is your seventh house, meaning that there's a new connection, new relationship, new business partnership. As well as Venus entering Cancer for Scorpio rising. Cancer is your ninth house, right? Cancer is your ninth house. There's going to be a bit of ease in terms of traveling, right? In terms of the way you view the world, your higher minds. As well as Uranus in Gemini, and then Mercury entering Taurus, and then entering Gemini, and then Sun conjunct Uranus in Gemini, which is for Scorpio rising, which is your eighth house. So the theme for the month of May is seventh house, fourth house, as well as a lot of energies in the eighth house where the sun is. And you're familiar with the eighth house. So it's about the eighth house, the seventh house, and also the fourth house. For the next rising sign, we will go to Sagittarius rising, the most accurate, followed by Sagittarius sun and Sagittarius moon. For my dear Sagittarius rising friends, the month of May, we're going to have a lot of energies competing with each other. So the key is balance. But the most important thing for the month of May is for Sagittarius rising is you're going to look at your chart ruler, which is Jupiter, and any planets or any events that going to create an aspect to that Jupiter, as well as to yourself, Sagittarius. So for you, the focus should be on Jupiter, which is in Cancer, and Venus, that's going to join Jupiter in Cancer in your eighth house, as well as your Mercury, as well as your seventh house, Gemini house, because the Sun is going to oppose you. Mercury eventually will move to Gemini, which is going to oppose you. And then Uranus is also already opposing you, because Uranus is already in Gemini. Other than that, we're going to experiencing lunation cycle, which is full moon in Scorpio, and then also full moon in yourself in Sagittarius later in the month, as well as new moon in Taurus. So basically, your focus should be on your seventh house, Gemini house, as well as your Cancer house, eighth house. Because your chart ruler is in Cancer, Venus will join your chart ruler in Cancer in your eighth house. So it's about transformation, shared resources, intimacy, as well as your seventh house, Gemini, because Uranus is already there. The Sun will move into Gemini and conjunct Uranus, and Mercury will also eventually move to Gemini. So it's about partnership, seventh house, and the intimacy or the merging of that partnership, eighth house. For the next rising sign, we will go to Capricorn rising, the most accurate, followed by Capricorn sun and Capricorn moon. For my dear Capricorn rising friends, the month of May is a bit chaotic, but the key is how to juggle between these different energies and how to create harmony and balance, find harmony and balance, to merge or to activate these energies so that it will not overwhelm you. So for the month of May, the focus should be anything or any energies that is going to making an aspects to you, Capricorn, as well as your chart ruler, which is Saturn. For Capricorn rising, Saturn is slow-moving planet, and Saturn is already settled into Aries. For Capricorn rising, Saturn is in your fourth house. So for the next few years, your focus should be on your family, your fourth house, your mother, your property. But other than that, Venus is going to make an opposition to you because Jupiter is in Cancer opposing you. Venus on the month of May will move into Cancer opposing you. So further focus on your 7th house, relationship, other people. Other than that, we're going to experience Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, which is your 2nd house. It's about money, as well as Uranus, the Sun, and Mercury eventually will join into Gemini. For Capricorn rising, Gemini is your 6th house, so major impetus for the 6th house, which is work, health, pets. You're basically the way you structure your daily life. As well as Mars moving into Taurus and new moon in Taurus, which is your 5th house, creativity. There's going to be a new journey when it comes to creativity and self-expression, this is good, trining you from the 5th house. Also children, 5th house. And the lunar cycle, which will be new moon in Taurus, full moon in Scorpio, and full moon in Sagittarius. So all of these energies are competing for your attention, but your focus should be the one that is making a direct aspect to you. So it should be your Taurus house, it should be your Cancer house, and also it should be where Saturn is. For the next rising sign, we will go to Aquarius rising, the most accurate, followed by Aquarius sun and Aquarius moon. For my dear Aquarius rising friends, the month of May is a bit chaotic, but the key is how to manage and juggle these energies in a harmonious way. So for the month of May, for Aquarius rising, my tips is to focus on the energy of planets or major transits first in your 1st house. Pluto is going to retrograde in your 1st house, as well as your 2 chart rulers, which is Saturn and Uranus. Saturn is already settling in Aries, 3rd house. So Uranus already moved into Gemini and will make a conjunction with Mercury later in the month, and also the Sun. So Uranus, which is one of your chart ruler, is in Gemini, is in your Gemini is in your 5th house. So for Aquarius rising, the focus is in your 1st, your 3rd, and your 5th. So it's about yourself, Pluto retrograde, Saturn, the 3rd house, communication, and Mercury, Uranus, and the Sun in Gemini, your 5th house, self-expression and creativity. Other than that, we're going to experience Venus moving into Cancer, as well as the lunation cycles, which is full moon in Scorpio, new moon in Taurus, and then full moon in Sagittarius. And also Mars moving into Taurus, and also new moon in Taurus, like I said earlier. Because Taurus, for Aquarius rising, Taurus is your 4th house, making an aspect to you, as well as full moon in Scorpio, also making an aspect to you. So your 10th house, full moon in Scorpio, as well as new moon in Taurus, as well as Mars in Taurus, your 4th house, is also very important. So there's a lot of houses that's going to be activated for the month of May. So just pay attention. Do not overwhelm by all of these energies, and just stay calm and try to find a harmonious way to integrate these houses, which is the 1st, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 10th. And for Aquarius rising, Cancer is your 6th house. For the last rising sign, we will go to Pisces rising, the most accurate, followed by Pisces sun and Pisces moon. For my dear Pisces rising friends, the month of May is a bit chaotic because there's a lot of energies, competing energies, very different energies. It's all over the place. But the key is how to integrate, how to use, and how to make these energies harmoniously effective for you. So for Pisces rising, my first suggestion is to look at your chart ruler. There's 2, Neptune and Jupiter. Jupiter will be in Cancer until the middle of the year, and also Venus already settled for the long run in Aries. your Neptune is already settled for the long run in Aries, which is your second house. So your focus should be long-term second house, as well as Jupiter in Cancer. For Pisces rising, Cancer is your fifth house. Venus, in the end of the month, will join Jupiter in Cancer. So a boost of positivity for Pisces rising in your Cancer house. Creativity, self-expression, children, romances, and love. Fifth house, this is good. Other things that you need to watch for would be aspects from planets or transits, major transits that's going to make an aspect to you. In this case, we're going to have full moon in Sagittarius for Pisces rising. Sagittarius is your 10th house, right? Because for Pisces is the first, Virgo is the 7th, and then Sagittarius is in the 10th, and Gemini would be the 4th. So there's a full moon in Sagittarius, meaning that a culmination in terms of your career. There's going to be also a full moon in Scorpio that's going to trine you. This is the 9th house, meaning that there's going to be a culmination in the realm of travel, in the realm of things that are foreign, in the realm of mindset, higher minds, higher learning. We're going to experience, Uranus is already in Gemini, but we're going to experience Sun entering Gemini, Mercury will eventually entering Gemini, and conjunct Uranus. This is a major theme, right? This is a very major theme. And Uranus for Pisces rising in Gemini is in your 4th house. So there's a lot of disruptions, but also revolutions and breakthroughs in the realm of your home, in the realm of your relationship with your family, your property, basically place that you call home, the foundation of your chart. As well as new moon in Taurus. For Pisces rising, Taurus is your 3rd house, as well as Mars is in Taurus, will move into Taurus. So a huge energy in the realm of communication and also skills. This is maybe a good time for you to start something new because new moon is here. Start something new in the realm of communication, or start something new in the realm of learning new things, skill. So for Pisces rising is about the Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer houses, right? 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, as well as your Scorpio house, as well as your Sagittarius house, 9th and 10th, and don't forget Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. For Pisces rising, this is the 12th house. So there's going to be a review in the realm of your mental health.